Hi, Malcolm Walker again with Bug Facts. Today we re-talking about a spider that's a nightmare for people who like to sleep with their mouths open. That's right, we're talking about sac spiders. And there's a few different species in this group that we were going to cover in this series, so they're found all over the world except for Antarctica. But again, today, we're just focusing on the southern sac spider. But today we're talking about one of the most common ones, which is the southern sac spider, also known as Cheracanthium inclissum. They're also tan-colored, which helps them blend in with kind of the umber or the sienna tones of our walls and our floors and things like that. And those help them to sense vibrations, and maybe even sense chemicals in the air. But you got to be really careful if you're trying to identify these guys. If you kill the spider, those hairs come off and it's really hard to get them to stick back on. So if you can, you want to just observe these guys without killing them, and then let them go on their merry way. So, it makes them really easy to hide. A lot of people mistake them for other house spiders, especially cobwebs. Cobwebs are a similar color and size. You might just be snacking on a nice little worm and it might not taste very good, or you might just get a little bite that you don't expect. And although they do belong to the same order, they're not actually related super closely. They're in the same order, Arena. They're in the same class. They're in the same phylum, but they're not actually closely related. Now, these guys are in the family Clubionidae, and in this family, you have about 2,000 species spread across 6 continents. If you happen to get bitten by a sac spider, you might notice some symptoms from the bite. It might be a little bit painful, and that's because their venom is cytotoxic. If you have any questions or comments, please put them below. We'd love to answer them for you. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, what bugs we should cover, what arachnids we should cover, anything like that, please let us know. We'll see you next time with another bug. So it can actually destroy cells and cause lesions at the site of the bite. So if you get bitten by one of these, it might leave a lesion that's painful, and it could even last for a couple of days. Now, thankfully, these are very, very rare. There's only been a handful of cases where somebody was severely affected by a sac spider bite. And it sounds like it's pretty rare even for them to get into your skin. They usually just kind of latch onto your skin and not actually inject any venom into you. But still, you might notice some pain or swelling or redness around the area of the bite, but it's not common for these to be life-threatening. So, if you do get bitten by one of these spiders, it's probably not going to be too serious, but it could be a little bit painful. As far as behavior goes, sac spiders aren't really aggressive. They're not going to seek you out, but they have been known to bite. Usually it happens when they re-embed with you and you accidentally put your mouth open, or you. Re-wearing clothing made of natural fibers like cotton, and the spider crawls up onto the fabric and then latches onto your skin. You feel that bite, it could be painful enough to wake you up, but most people just kind of brush it off and go back to sleep. And the spider will continue on its merry way. But yeah, they're not aggressive. They don't want to bite you. They just kind of doing their thing, and you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. As far as appearance goes, these guys are pretty small. They're only about 3 millimeters in length. So, they're pretty tiny. And sac spiders are actually quite hairy. You look at them under the microscope, and you can see that they have these little hairs all over their body. So, next time you're lying in bed, keep your mouth open. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to follow us here on YouTube for more bug videos like this one.